Aloha and welcome to This Is Now on your Wednesday afternoon. Casey and Ashley here with you in the digital center, and we do want to get to those coronavirus numbers. Grateful at least not to see them in the four-digit numbers again, Ash.
That's right. The state health department is reporting 380 new COVID infections today. The breakdown by island shows 203 cases on Oahu, 95 on the Big Island. Maui has 54, Kauai reporting 19, and 9 people were diagnosed out of state. Now we'll have more coronavirus coverage coming up in a few minutes, but first, a water main break in the Waiau area of Pearl City cut off service to homes and schools in the area and also created a sinkhole. Billy V filed this report from the scene.
This is a whole sinkhole that happened after a 12-inch water main broke through the road here at about 4 o'clock this morning. So we're going to show you that. And also I want to show you right now a picture of the water main break hole with the car that is inside of it. A car that was parked right adjacent to the hole. The driver tried to move his car out, and everybody, the bystanders, were all saying, "No, don't move your car, don't move." And we are guessing that he didn't see it. He drove into the hole. It took about 2 hours to remove the car. I'm going to bring our cameraman down here. If you look along the road, you can see this whole area was just lifted up. This whole pavement area was just lifted up overnight, and it brought up all this mud and rocks onto the sidewalk. Now, water service, we've checked in with the Board of Water Supply. About 8 meters are down. 8 meters feeds maybe about 3 to 4 to 5 different apartments or homes to people. So there's probably maybe about 100 people in this area, immediate area, that are affected. There are water wagons already stationary in place. That's over at Kamahau Place and Kamahau Street. And once again, it's going to take a little bit for them to go ahead and have to do some digging. They're doing some checks right now. They're still letting it run just a little bit to make sure that the pipe doesn't get any debris in it. But once again, the sinkhole is here. They're going to have to dig. It's about 2 feet deep, the hole. They don't know how far they're going to have to dig in order to repair the problem. Then after they fix the pipe, they still got to pave the roadway. They're going to be closed here for quite a bit today.
The Hawaiian music community is remembering DJ Pratt from the group Kalapana. The band's spokesperson says he died yesterday of an apparent medical condition. He was their lead guitar player back in the 70s, and over the decades, he jammed with just about every musician in town. David John Pratt was 66 years old. Well, home prices on Oahu are skyrocketing. The median home price for a single-family home on Oahu just topped over $1 million. Lazy Denise has more.
The Honolulu Board of Realtors says in August, the median price for a single-family home is $1,005,000. At the same time last year, homes sold at a median of $839,000. Even at higher prices, more homes sold at this time of year, 425 compared to 370 last August. But realtors tell prospective home buyers not to give up hope.
There is, we're seeing less in the $700,000 range, but we are still seeing a lot of the properties in $800,000 and $900,000 range. So those, that it just depends on where you're going to go. You know, in order to get those prices, you may have to come out of the town area a little bit more. But as you move out of that area, your drive is a little bit longer, but you're going to get a little bit more bang for your buck. So you may be able to get a garage or central air or a newer product in the housing industry. So it's just a trade-off.
Condominium prices are lower than single-family home prices, but even those are on the rise. The median is now at $500,000 compared to $430,000 last year.
We do see this as something that's going to be continuing. It's been rising with low inventory along with low interest rates as well. It just, coupling these two things together, it does make it quite a competitive market. However, there is hope for our buyers. In this particular price point of condos, being that it is affordable and a mid-range price range for buyers, we do have a whole program. The Honolulu Board of Realtors has a whole program called Housing Opportunities Are Possible for Everyone.
So far this year, 297 have sold with a high price tag. By this time last year, only 97 had sold. For This Is Now, I'm Lacey Denise.
New at noon, Honolulu police and city officials today announced an initiative to reduce crime in Chinatown. Sammy Solina has more.
It's been about 2 decades since the Weed and Seed program was fully implemented here in Chinatown and the surrounding areas. And now city officials say that they'll team up to make sure that they can reduce crime in the area. The revamp is already in the works. HPD says there is an increased presence in the area and that they have the support from the mayor and the Honolulu prosecuting attorney. Steve Alm says that the prosecutor's office will be holding criminals in the area accountable and that there is extra funding to support resources for homeless individuals in the area. The concentration started in July, and shop owners tell me they're already seeing a difference.
Now we got it back, so I'm very happy. I'm grateful for the city to putting it all together again.
And now, you know, with the three of us, you've got the leadership to get this going here, and then get the proof of this, keep good stats, and then move on. But we'll stay here working this. This is not a months-long project. This is a years-long project.
We'll have the full story tonight at 4:30. Sammy Solina for This Is Now.
Honolulu police say they issued more than 100 citations over the Labor Day weekend, mostly for outdoor gatherings of more than 25 people, as well as park and traffic violations. HPD also issued more than 200 warnings. The chief says officers also disrupted parties that were planned for Mokuleia and at several bars in town. Police also monitored a convoy of vaccine mandate protesters on Monday from Kapolei to Ala Moana. One of the demonstrators, McQueen Danielson, was arrested by state sheriffs for allegedly blocking an airport intersection during the caravan. DPS also says he was driving without a license and had 3 outstanding bench warrants. There were also marches in Waikiki, violating the gathering limits, and more demonstrations outside the Lieutenant Governor's condo building. The Aloha Freedom Coalition is organizing most of the protests and is planning another large gathering this coming weekend in Waikiki.
The teachers union says being forced to work in unsafe conditions violates their agreement with the state. They filed 2 grievances with the Department of Education. After reporting 482 cases last week, the DOE says there have been roughly 2,300 cases tied to educational settings since the start of the school year. Teachers feel their campuses are not safe. They're calling on the DOE to provide more resources, flexibility, and a chance to be heard. HSTA says teachers are having to work extra hours, being forced to teach remotely while on sick leave, and the option to teach from home is only reserved for new hires.
And then we're seeing teachers who are home using up their sick leave to be safe that would be more than willing to teach some of these distance learning courses, not being allowed to do so. And the department is just saying, sorry, we're only accepting new hires for these distance learning teachers. And that really is frustrating just as much.
And I really do implore our employers to actually sit down with us, because a lot of us are stressed, and I don't think they really understand how stressed we really are.
Interim Superintendent Hayashi released a statement saying they have been meeting with HSTA monthly to talk about COVID issues that affect teachers. He says they remain focused on providing safe in-person learning for all students.
Oahu's Vaccine Pass program begins on Monday, and Maui County will be launching new COVID rules next Wednesday. Only vaccinated customers will be allowed inside many businesses, and the unvaccinated will have to be served outside. Chelsea Davis has more.
The reaction on Maui is split. Some business owners say it's unfair, while some residents say it'll make them feel safer.
This is the first step with the numbers we have right now, barring total shutdown.
Details aren't final, but the mayor says beginning September 15th for 30 days, Maui will move to a safer outside order. Gatherings limited to 5 people indoors and 10 outside. Proof of vaccination will be required to be indoors at restaurants, bars, and gyms. County officials say they are targeting high-risk businesses where clusters have happened. The mayor says it'll make Maui a safer place.
Personally, I would feel safer, yes.
Kihei resident Bill Clapp supports the mayor's decision, especially since Maui has the lowest vaccination rate in the state at just 57%.
If it can help and if it can protect people and protect the kids, and protect the older people, I think it's a very good idea.
Meanwhile, some restaurant owners believe it's overreach.
I'm not here to tell anybody what they should do with their body. I'm just here to serve you food.
Moonstar Green owns 5 restaurants on Maui and Oahu. She says it'll be nearly impossible to police.
Who has the manpower to check it? There's not even enough people to work to bring the food to the tables for people. So now I gotta find like a Gestapo kind of person who's gotta check people's vaccine passes at the door.
The mayor says unvaccinated patrons can still dine outdoors and order takeout.
I'm not going to be able to tell people that they have to get a vaccination. It's just against my morals.
Christopher Malik Cousins owns 3 food establishments on the Valley Isle. He says he'd rather do business somewhere else, someplace less restrictive.
Have an opportunity afforded to me in South Beach in Florida, where it's not Maui, but I'll probably pack up and try to cook somewhere else or create something where I'll maybe be appreciated more.
If you don't understand what we're trying to do, then I'm sorry. We're really trying to keep Maui open for you, the consumer, you, the people of Maui County.
Reporting on Maui, Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
More antibody clinics are expected to be up and running over the next couple weeks. At least 12 medical facilities statewide are offering treatments, and there are 6 sites targeted for expanded antibody therapy. Doctors say antibody treatment is for COVID patients with mild to moderate symptoms and underlying health conditions. It's aimed to keep COVID patients out of the hospital. The Kaiser Maui Lani Clinic started the infusion therapy last week. One patient got his sense of smell back halfway through the treatment.
The World Health Organization is again calling for a hiatus on booster shots. They're asking richer countries to share vaccines with less developed countries. The WHO Director General said, quote, "I will not stay silent when companies and countries that control the global supply of vaccines think the world's poor should be satisfied with leftovers." The state's largest jail brought in portable cells to deal with the COVID-19 outbreak, but we've learned they've been sitting unused for months. Take a listen to a portion of this interview between our own Grace Lee from Sunrise and Chad Blair from our partners at Civil Beat.
First of all, what was the whole idea behind these portable cells?
Good morning, Grace. Well, it's really because of COVID. As we know, there has been a serious spread of COVID-19 in our jails, and they're trying to control that. And what if you need to bring in a new inmate and quarantine them for 14 days? Well, as we've been reporting, our jails are seriously overcrowded. There are not the existing facilities. So the idea was, let's use containers. Let's configure them so that you can have 4 cells within the container. It looks like a shipping container, and make sure they can handle AC and security purposes. But here's the problem. OCCC is so old, so falling apart, that it cannot handle the electrical load required to operate those cells. There's 2 of them, by the way, at OCCC, and they've just been sitting there. We can tell you that the Department of Public Safety says they're working on it. They're trying to take care of the proper electrical support needed, as well as making sure that they're secure, right, in terms of jail requirements.
Now, the 2 at OCCC have been sitting there, my understanding, I think, from the article is since December. But it's not just OCCC. There are other jails that try to implement the same thing and having the same problems, right?
That's exactly right. There's 1 each of these container cells at the jails on Maui and Kauai and on the Big Island. 11 total purchased by the Department of Public Safety at a cost of $124,000 each. So add that up, 11 container cells altogether, that's over $1 million.
The Biden administration is asking for more than $6 billion to help resettle people evacuated from Afghanistan. As many as 65,000 Afghans are expected to arrive in the U.S. by the end of the month, but some Republican lawmakers are raising concerns about the efforts. Skylar Henry has more.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken toured Hangar 5 at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany, the last stop many Afghan evacuees will make before moving on to America.
Because of what you've done and because of how you've done it, you have literally saved lives. You have literally changed lives. You've literally changed futures.
Administration officials say as many as 65,000 Afghans are expected to arrive in the U.S. by the end of the month. Some Republican lawmakers, including Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona, are concerned about the vetting process. He sent a letter to DHS demanding more information, saying we need to ensure that these individuals are being properly vetted and do not pose a risk to our communities. CBS Evening News anchor and managing editor Nora O'Donnell asked DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas why some Afghan evacuees on the terrorist watch list are showing up in America.
So how many people have been removed from the United States for showing up on one of these lists?
So our screening and vetting process is going very, very well. And we're dealing with very, very few people that have given us any cause for concern.
President Biden is asking Congress for more than $6 billion in emergency spending to help resettle the refugees in America.
This is an important responsibility of the United States government to help folks right now who are here to find places in the United States.
CBS News has learned the emergency funding request includes a provision that would make the refugees eligible for green cards after only 1 year in America. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The largest Confederate statue in the United States came down in Virginia today. The statue of General Robert E. Lee, which was seen as a towering symbol of racial injustice and a tribute to the South's legacy of slavery, was gently lifted from its pedestal in Richmond as spectators cheered and snapped photos. The 12-ton statue has stood in the city's Monument Avenue for more than 130 years. In June, Virginia's governor vowed to remove it, but faced legal challenges. Last week, the state's Supreme Court ruled unanimously that it could come down. For now, the statue will be placed in storage.
This summer, the state unveiled the Hawaii 2050 Sustainability Plan. The purpose of the document is to help align the state's goals, policies, and actions when it comes to combating climate change and creating a sustainable Hawaii. For more about the plan, here's Danielle Bass, the state sustainability coordinator.
So the state sustainability plan, the Hawaii 2050 sustainability plan, actually provides a framework aligning the majority of our sustainability and climate laws and goals and initiatives with the United Nations Decade of Action, as well as the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. What's very strategic about this plan is it only serves for this decade, from 2020 to 2030, as our state's climate strategic action plan. For the last year and a half, we listened to hundreds of people, we reviewed 150 plans and laws and strategies, and we were able to whittle all of that down to the vision we heard from the public, which are these 8 focus areas. To 1, promote a sustainable economic recovery. 2, to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. 3, to encourage climate resilience or adaptation through our infrastructure and our investments. To advance sustainable communities, advance equity, of course, while we're doing all of this. Institutionalize sustainability throughout all of our government agencies, preserve our natural environment, and perpetuate our traditional and ecological knowledge as we continue towards a sustainable and climate resilient Hawaii.
So now that you guys have, you've brainstormed, you did the public outreach, you have this document now, this hard copy document, what are the next steps and how do we, turn this plan into action?
We need to start funding projects to make our infrastructure more resilient to climate adaptation. We are seeing climate change now. We need to continue those investments in our schools and universities and in our communities to make Hawaii more sustainable and practice that energy efficiency, implement more renewable energy, recycle our water, reclaim our water, even also improve our waste management plan and our transportation system so that we can continue this progress and be successful in 2030 as a more climate resilient and sustainable Hawaii.
It all sounds great and important, right? But the funding needs to be there. What else needs to be there to make this all happen?
Our elected officials need to work with our government agencies, our counties, our private sector, the people of Hawaii. We are all committed to this beautiful Hawaii that we call home. And now we have guidance through this Hawaii 2050 sustainability plan. These are things we can focus on so that we can implement the sustainable Hawaii and our future in climate resilience.
Great story there, Ash. And speaking of our beautiful planet, let's take a look. I thought we'd get out of town today.
Oh, nice.
You know where that is? Waimea
Shore?
Bay.
Okay.
Yes, Waimea Bay. Got some folks out on the water there enjoying the sunshine, and we'll probably have that sunshine for a little bit longer. Let's check in with Guy Hoggy.
Aloha on this Wednesday. We are still cyclone-free in the Central Pacific, and there are no significant storm systems, so we're not going to get significant rainfall, although we are expecting a minor boost in rainfall coming in sometime on Friday. This morning, you can see there are a few showers out there, but those showers are really insignificant, and they're moving along at a good pace because we've got a nice breezy trade wind pattern setting up. Wind's going to be breezy from Kauai to Maui, not so much for Kona or for Hilo, although Kauai High could be a little bit breezy as well. So a gorgeous day shaping up. High temperatures running to near 90 degrees, but because of the breezy winds, it's not going to feel all that sticky, except, of course, for the Kona side of the Big Island. Now, as far as the surf, we have the best waves in the South Shore. Now, this is because of a series of small pulses that are overlapping. The waves will start to weaken over the weekend, and then by then, you're not going to see anything in the way of fun-sized surf anywhere. So we're looking at a really small weekend for surf, but the weather is going to be gorgeous this weekend. Again, we got breezy winds today and tomorrow, lighter winds by Friday with a slight boost in those windward and Mauka showers. And with the light winds, there's even a chance for some pop-up showers too. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Thank you very much, Guy. Looking at news from the feeds on your Tuesday afternoon. Ash, you could get your own piece of McDonald's memorabilia history, all those Happy Meal toys. Somebody's been collecting them, and they're about to go to auction. Check this out.
Started with one of the grandkids with a set of toys and kind of went from there. Started in one of my brother's old bedrooms, but it outgrew that real quick.
So Angie Lewis's grandma, Anna Marie, was a collector of all things Mickey D's. The Indiana resident collection eventually took up a whole garage spanning 2 floors like a museum. She's going to walk through it here in just a minute. You'll see the extent. Some came from ordering Happy Meals, others from knowing the right people. Anna Marie passed away in March after her battle with cancer, and said she wanted to donate her collection to the Ronald McDonald House of Central Indiana, so proceeds of the auction will help sick kids and their families. Very
Holy
cool.
Nostalgia.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I never got the kids' meal even as a kid. That's why I grew so big.
Okay, Britney Spears' attorney, you guys, declared victory after the singer's father, Jamie Spears, petitioned to end her 13-year conservatorship yesterday. A hearing for the request is set for September 29th. Other family members could object to ending the conservatorship, although experts say it's unlikely. So Britney has called the arrangement abusive and cruel. The new filing says Jamie Spears wants the best for his daughter, and he'll honor her calls for independence. He's been managing her finances for 13 years, and he is seeking $2 million to cover his salary as well as legal fees, but Britney's attorney says they will not agree to a settlement.
Brittany's almost free,
Almost.
but it's going to be tricky with all the money. That's where it always gets
We'll
a little
see.
dicey.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
And check out this really cool video from England, you guys. Kites of all shapes and sizes were on display at the St. Anne's Kite Festival over the weekend. The event features an illuminated night flight, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, those look like those don't look like kites. Those look like balloons, but I guess they are. You can just see they're like being powered by the wind there. And yeah,
it's
how
beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah, and you guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. We have a 1 o'clock press conference with Governor Ige coming on. He's expected to talk about a way to validate your vaccine status. So tune in for that on all HNN digital platforms. Jonathan will be back tomorrow. Casey, thank you so much for filling in.
Going back to sunrise.
I'm sure you're really bummed about that.
It was a pleasure.
See you guys.